And it's like, the stat that people saying thank you or please to AI costs millions of pounds in cooling and electricity. And, we're now using, is it like all of the bottled water to cool AI down because we're using it for everything. At some point, chips and processors will get better and GPUs will improve. But at some point, we've got to use it where it adds the most value rather than burning the whole planet on a bunch of random trivial things. We've got to at some point focus on what's helping and what really, really matters.
We've got to think about the efficient use of it, not just use it for every single thing. I know NVIDIA have just released a space-ready chip because they're actually at the point where it's more cost-effective to launch them into space than it is to burn all the energy and water to cool them on Earth.
Right. And then we just go and live in space and it's all really easy then.
Exactly.
Well, you know how Gemini is built into Google searches generally now?
Yeah.
Is every time someone's Googling something,
whether you want it or not?
That seems not like a good idea.
Definitely not for energy use.
But it is amazing. I mean, in the past when I've Googled, I might go down 3 or 4 pages. I rarely get past the AI box now.
Yeah, but it depends what you're searching for. If you kind of know, and you're just looking for a website and you don't quite know exactly what the URL is or something, you don't really need AI to tell you.
I don't think many people even realise it's happening. A lot of people just see this because they've designed it to look exactly like their quick answer from Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So most people just read that and trust it fully as well. And it's just there every time at the top. It can be really helpful. I've found I pretty much never have to go Googling like I used to. I've been spending hours searching Stack Overflow.
Yeah.
It saves so much time.
Yeah. No, I think, but I think, to be honest, if you're a business user and you're trying to do something efficiently, we probably want the AI all the time, but for most people at home who are searching for the best Apple or something, probably most of the searches I do at home I could probably live without the AI. I could just go down a page.
BBC and Google.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was saying. Yeah.
So I think just tuning that, and I think at the moment they're throwing everything at AI, burning billions in a cycle, passing money around in cycles, and at some point we probably have to start being a bit more sensible.
Yeah.
But I think again this is the problem because so much money is invested that the story has to be it's going to do everything and it's going to replace every job.
That's the only way they keep getting government funding. We've got hundreds of billions being funded into this, going around to the chip makers and background.
But I think it's a problem because it's slowing things down because it's confusing people about what AI is and isn't. So they're confused about whether they should do something now or wait. So that if they waited, they might think, wait till it does replaces all all these teams or whatever. But I think it's almost like if you just use it as a tool for a very limited thing, you get 80-20 benefit. You're not paying very much. I mean, why wouldn't you start with that? And then maybe over time we'll improve it. It will improve. We'll find better ways of using it. But we don't think we have to just treat it like we just have to go in, so crazily. Let's just start, because again, there's stats about the benefits of what stats do you have about the efficiency of AI?
So there's the fact that 95% of businesses have failed their AI pilot. They found it's not been profitable. That was an MIT study. So this is companies that have just been told you have to use AI, give it a go.
Yeah.
And it's a free-for-all. Everyone's trying it for image generation, for sales and marketing. They're not really thinking about the details of we need to create a really specific process suited for our business and suited for this AI model that will actually deliver what we want with the right human in the loop and the right QA checks. And what's come of that is that around 67% of vendor-led implementations, where you've gone to an industry specialist who's understood your processes, they've implemented AI correctly. They've known everything that you need from it rather than just putting it everywhere and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And you've got 67% succeeding in that case rather than 95% failing. So that's of the 5% there.
But some of this is human nature, and it's a bit like if you're into fitness or language learning, whatever, everything's cheat codes. If you just do this, it's super quick. Throw AI at this and you don't have to, it's really complicated. You don't know what to do. AI will just solve it and you don't have to worry about it. Whereas, there aren't really that many shortcuts. They're doing an amazing job efficiently and effectively, apart from understanding what you're doing and tuning it so that it works.
I think people are using it in the wrong way as well, and that they're just seeing, can we do more work, rather than can we just do everything we're doing now but at a higher quality. It should be there in the background doing everything that you're doing, that you can describe really well, so you can focus on the stuff that would be really creative, the high problem solving areas.
And they're things you understand already.
That's where the people are still needed, and where you want to apply
But the people I'm talking to, they're the basics. So they have so nearly everybody I see, they've got a team of people. They're super busy. They're thrashing, trying to keep things going. Most of what they're doing is cut and pasting, into just things that really they don't want to, they shouldn't be doing. But there's no time to automate it. And then people let's put some automation in, so that then some people maybe find they can do an automation, and then they create the automation, but then either they leave, or somebody else has to pick it up, and nobody knows what it is. So it's really hard, and the answer really is just to slow down, look at your processes, make them more efficient, analyze them, understand them, design AI to fit in, check that it's scalable, secure, maintainable. Do that. I always say, like, if you do planning and strategy up front, a tiny little bit goes a huge amount of huge distance. Whereas, you only have to do a little bit of planning, design, understand what you should do those really well, and you'll get somewhere. Whereas what people are really doing is thrashing, panicking, trying to do what they can with minimal resources, and it's hard to get going.
It is. That reminds me of this whole concept of shadow AI as well, where you've got businesses where everyone's using their personal AI accounts. So people are just like, not just free for all within companies, but everyone's just logging into their own GPT account, their own Claude account. And what we're finding is, I think the stat was around 40% of people have accidentally submitted personal confidential information to their
bank details and things like that.
And that's the people that admitted it for the study. So who knows how widespread that really is.
People, I know people pasting contracts in and CVs and personal information into personal, not really thinking about the impact.
It's moving so fast. The governance and security is just not keeping up. Companies need a strict list of tools that are allowed, business accounts.
But we know what cybersecurity is. I remember 20 years ago, we probably had the same passwords and we didn't worry too much. And then over time, it's got to the point where we've got two-factor on everything, and it's got more secure. And AI is almost like a little bit come back to the Wild West of we're just trying stuff. And there's big companies who've locked it down to the point where they're almost doing nothing, because you've got to do so much to do anything that you can't get past those across the hurdle. Whereas the smaller ones are just like it is the Wild West, and exposing themselves to risks, and a little bit of secure planning in terms of cyber, architecture design would go a huge way to make not exposing them to risk and losses. So there's so many benefits, but again, just doing it the right way just de-risks that completely. So it's tricky, and the bottom line is people are busy, people are overworked, that people don't like change. So as much as they might find it interesting, very few people want to change a job that they're comfortable with and they understand. And they're either being pushed to do it and don't know what to do, or they're avoiding it. And again, it can be a lot easier than that, I think.
And people making an excuse that they're too busy as well, which is kind of counterproductive, because if you're that busy, let's see if there's anything that can be done quickly with AI with a bit of.
But everybody says that, and my main suggestion is, for everybody who needs to engage from be an AI champion, you need to look at what they do. Just prioritize automating 10% of the stuff that really isn't adding any value. And don't let that 10% be soaked up with operations. You've got to be really rigorous. You free up the 10%, you invest it in AI. You free up 5%, you invest it in AI, and then you're kind of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. If you don't do that, you end up either trying to do things off the side of the desk, which is why I think a lot of these things fail, because there was no resource, there was no champion, there was no plan, and somebody's launched into it either with a good intention, but without a clear idea how to get the benefit and what the benefits
Yeah.
should have been.
They need to consider the right areas to apply AI, the right processes to replace with AI, and get all of the data sorted first. Because most of the time you'll find companies' data can be pretty messy, and people are great at handling that. Like anyone can come in and sort of wing it and deal with this mess of data, but an AI will just plow ahead, look at some piece of information that's wrong that everyone else at the company just knows. Just ignore that because that's wrong. We forgot to change that. But it'll look at that and believe it outright if you don't tell it to ignore it specifically and go and do the wrong thing.
So basically point it at data that is more structured and organised.
Yeah.
And any data that isn't, that you know could be,
exclude
try
it,
and clean
explain it.
and then tackle it after.
Yeah, because it can, absolutely you can deal with that, but you need to put a bit of upfront time into making sure your data and your process is really clear. That's the key thing.
Well, those are the layers, aren't they? The layer is data right.
Yeah.
You know, and then once your data's right, you can put AI on. If the data's wrong, you can put AI on, and it's a bit like the you know, creating reports in Power BI. You know, you can point at a massive tables in, you know, your system, whatever. But it's very fragile if you do that, and if anything changes in the reservation system, it breaks. Whereas if you structure it into a data warehouse and then build your reports on, they're very kind of robust and they last. And it's just that mindset of, you know, if get the data right, apply the AI, and you get there much quicker than kind of bodging a solution across all of it. That then, you know, you do something else, and that bodges the same thing again, and you're not getting any reuse, and you're getting all of these problems are just building up, and each person looks at their own and they're kind of happy, but the whole thing is getting more and more unstable. And again, if nobody takes control of that, then again, it's just the Wild West waiting to happen.